Yo. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to Salt Lake Take, another episode over here on the Frozen Rope. And today is actually a pretty special edition of this. I don't know why we didn't do this last year, because believe it or not, we've been on this for about a year now. We are doing our official 2024 NBA mock draft. So, we got the Jazz picking at 9, or sorry, I almost said 9. That was last year. 10, 29, and 32. So, thought it'd be a good idea. We're about less than a week away from the draft now at this point to come in and give my little bit of predictions and go from that. Oh, let me turn off my computer audio here. That'd be a great start. So this how this is gonna go. We're gonna have 32 picks because the Jazz have their 32nd pick. We're gonna do our the first round and then dab a little bit in the second. No trades because I feel like that makes things a bit complicated for a mock draft. There's some people out there that do that. That's not me. And also, I want to preface before I get too deep into this. I am not a draft aficionado, expert. Believe me, I've done my fair share of research. I've dove into the prospect pool. Done a little bit of film here and there. But compared to guys out there like Jeremy Woo, Jonathan Givony, guys that work at Draft Express, go out and do this routinely year round. I'm not on that level, right? So keep that, take my opinion with a grain of salt. I know what I'm talking about, but I'm not on that level, right? So, also one more thing before we actually get started, and I'll, get into the pick number 1 here. But we will be live next week on Wednesday, not Thursday, Wednesday for our draft show. So I'll be live here, doing the first. Or I don't know. We're at least gonna go with the Jazz pick. Probably do the lottery. I don't know. We might go to the whole first round. I don't know. But we will be live here starting around 6 o'clock Mountain Time. Whenever the draft starts kicking off, we'll be here reacting to picks live. So if you guys like seeing some Jazz picks, want to see me talk about some Jazz ball, then during the draft we will be live then. So be sure to tune in then. Do your thing coming in. Cedar Creek curmudgeon coming in. Welcome in. And I'm going to do my thing, and let's go off and start with number 1 here. So I got, hold on. One, actually, I need to reset that because that is from earlier when I was doing it before it. 1 second. Full draft, standard. Okay. Let's try this again. All right, we are back on the clock here. So start off here with Atlanta. I think it comes down to 3 people here. It comes down to Reza Shea, Sarr, and Klingon. And I've seen all 3 of their names put in at least once around the for number 1 here. We got Planeta Jazz popping in here. What's going on, Planeta? Good seeing you tonight, man. But it comes down here to 3 picks here for Atlanta, I think. If it were me, and so what I've seen really recently, at least, is that Donovan Klingon is getting traction for number 1 here. And a lot of that is because Alex Sarr is a guy that's not working out, and or Atlanta hasn't worked him out yet, or that's just rumors. Maybe, but that's what I've heard. Alex Sarr maybe or may not has been in Atlanta to really cement himself as number 1. Reza Shea, I'm pretty sure I saw Atlanta attending one of his workouts or whatever. When it comes down to best player in this class, number 1 pick, I'm going to go with Sarr. I think Sarr has been that since day 1, at least since the lottery came out, pretty much been, steadfast number 1 for me. I don't think that changes here. I know, the workout stuff might be a little bit worrisome, but when you take into account, I think just his two-way ability compared to Klingon, Klingon's a great defender, but Sarr can do it on both ends of the floor. And considering where the modern NBA is going with bigs and, versatile defenders in your front court that you need, like Wemby, Chet, that's the trend now. And you see a guy like Sarr that might not be on that level, top generational number 1 pick talent, but he is exactly what the NBA is kind of becoming. And might just be the best player on the board and might have a super high steal income with it. So I'll go Sarr here. That very well could change because this is one of the drafts that you don't really have a consensus number 1 even a week out from the draft. That doesn't really happen ever. So this is very subject to change within the next week. But as far as I see right now, I think I would go Sarr. I wouldn't really think too much about it either. We move on to the Wizards here at 2. I think this gets a little bit more interesting. And I at first I was on Reza Shea, right? I think in terms of ranking big board type of players here, he might be number 2. You look at the Wizards, though, man. Like, this roster, and the depth chart looks a bit weird here on Fans, but I don't know why it is the way that it is, but that's a bit better. Like, you have a lot of wings on the roster already. You already have from last year, you took Bilal Coulibaly, you got Denny Advia, you got Corey Kispert from the previous year. Do you really need to add a guy like Riza Shea in there? Like, obviously, if you're going for BPA and you think he's the best on your forward, that you do that, right? But I think they really need a center, man. They really, really need a center. I'm gonna go with Klingon here because you could easily pair him alongside your other three wings, and then maybe a guy like Tyus Jones, Jordan Poole can run the point for you for now. But it's been a long time since the Wizards have had a really like dominant like interior force. And even if the offensive side of the ball might not be there, you're getting a really, really strong defender in the class. And especially, like I just said, with how the league is becoming, like with modern bigs, taking, physical upside like that, you're going to need guys to defend that. And if you don't have really a big man defender in the lineup, you might be cooked. So Klingon, I don't know if I consider him the second best prospect in the class at this point. But for the Wizards, I think it makes a ton of sense, and I'd go there too. Planeta says it pays too much attention to Salon, Williams, Dillingham Connect, and others. I don't know if Daniel would choose a combo point guard. Yeah. When it comes to the Jazz, I think all of those guys are honestly, they definitely have a shot. First of all, I think all of them could easily be there at 10. We're going to get to the Jazz. I think guard, I agree with you though. Seeing a combo guard, I don't know if that's really what the Jazz could like really desperately need right now, but trust, we will get to number 10 and you'll see what I have planned there. Number 3, we got the Rockets here. And I think the board kind of falls in their favor a bit here because if Riza Shea ends up going number 2 or 1, it gets a little bit weird because I don't know if you want to take a guy like Klingon here and pair him with a guy like Sengun. So that's a bit iffy for me. But thankfully, you see Riza Shea fall here to 3. I think he fits in pretty well. Get a guy in there that can play on both ends, can be a connector piece, even if he's not a true superstar. Like a lot of these players in this class are probably not projected to be, a perennial all-star talent. But with where the Rockets are sitting right now, at least in the state of their franchise, I think Riza Shea could be one of the final pieces to see this team make the playoffs or make a good run into the playoffs. But yeah, and now you kind of get into an interesting spot, right? Because the Spurs have a ton of flexibility here. And I think a lot of this draft kind of depends on what they do here. If I had to take, because it's different, I think if it was up to me, I would probably take Stephon Castle here. Okay, technically it is up to me because I'm doing the mock draft. But in the Spurs' mind, I would not be shocked to see a guy like Topic go here because that's a ceiling pick. And you also have to think about the Spurs. They have a pick right here coming up at number 8. So if they want to take a top end talent in the draft, even if a guy like Topic has some injury concerns as of late, you can afford to take that risk. And if he is a talent that people were talking about him being a number 1 pick before his injury, I don't know if that was going to happen or not, but that was well within the cards. So if the Spurs have a chance to potentially get the best player in the draft at 4 and get a guard in which they definitely do need a guard, I could easily see Topic still going 4 even with the injury. I could see him dropping 8 too. But still, I if you like the talent that you see with Topic, I think there might be concerns too. Because Topic, from what I've seen, his wingspan does not match up what it was reported as before. He has a negative wingspan. So defensively, you might not be. I mean, I'm not gonna say wingspan is end all be all for defensive type of stuff, but I don't think he's not the quickest type of prospect. So I think athleticism wise could be that could limit him as a defender, right? But I as a playmaker, as a finisher at the rim, as something like that could work. You think they could take a high wing talent like Matas at 4 and take Topic at 8 because he'd probably fall? Yes. Honestly, okay. I'll get to Matas because I'm about to pick him, but that would absolutely make sense because Matas is a guy that he'd be a playmaking type of guy to put in there, and a guy like Topic, you want like guys that come in and facilitate the ball. And Matas would be that, and he'd be a wing to come in, and you don't really, have a lot more guard. It's more guard heavy towards the top, and you don't really have as much forward, so they could do that. But yeah, it'd be tough to see if Topic actually fell. So I don't know if they want to take that risk. But then yeah, it becomes a like positional value. Like, do you want the wing or do you want the? I don't know. I'm gonna link Topic just because I know that he has been viewed as the high, like the higher end prospect here. But that is definitely a scenario that I could easily see happening. Gavoni said in last mock draft that he would choose Topic and tries to look for flag next draft. I'm guessing that might be for, I don't know if that's for I think that's for the Jazz. I'm gonna assume that's for the Jazz. If the Jazz if they can get Cooper Flag in next year's draft, one, they have to probably tank pretty heavy for that. But two, that would absolutely put this rebuild to where it would need to be. So if Gavoni says it's going to happen, then maybe it will. But I wouldn't hate Cooper Flag on the Jazz whatsoever. But yeah, I'm gonna go Topic here. Just because that's kind of a Spurs pick too. Get the foreign guard in there. And then you have Pistons 5 here. I have not wavered from Matas at all, and I guess that's just because of the family ties that he has, and then maybe I don't know. But even still, like from like an X's and O's standpoint, he can place in at the 3 and be a pretty necessary player that Detroit needs. Like you get a playmaker, run execute, and Jaden Ivey. The one thing that really worries me about Matas is his shooting, like obviously, but if he's shooting like, I forget if it was under 30%, but it was not good in the Ignite, right? So, but if he can get that, situated, if he can shoot at least league average, like he could be one of the best players in this class, but it really just depends on how well that shot develops. The Pistons, they're in a tough spot because they were the worst team in the league last year. I think a player like Connect makes a lot of sense because they need shooters, but I'm gonna go with Matas just because I think that's just higher ceiling. And if the shot turns out well, then the Pistons were fine. 6, Hornets. I was honestly very, very strong set on Ron Holland going here. I changed my mind, and I think it's going to go Stephon Castle. So he has a link that you would want the 2. He has a defensive upside that you would definitely want because you look at the Hornets, man. Like the Jazz were dead last in defensive rating, so they weren't very good at all. But right in front of them was the Hornets. So if they want to target anything in this draft, just like the Jazz, I think it should be like defense, right? And you could go a guy like Holland, but you have someone on the board like Castle that's more proven, more, he played college level talent rather than the Ignite, which is, if I don't know if you really trust that based on their recent track history. I'm going Castle here. I know he hasn't really worked out with teams that, aren't or that have a point guard in place. I don't think that means much, though. I've seen that story happen before. I'm going Castle. 7. I think Portland is one of the more interesting spots in this first round. They have 2, okay, just like the Spurs, because they have 2 lottery picks, so they can really do whatever with these. They have a ton of potential with these. My issue with the Blazers, though, is that I don't know if they're going to look at guards because last offseason, the reason they did not do a deal with the Heat, I remember this vividly, is because they like their existing guard core of Malcolm Brogdon, not Malcolm Brogdon. He's probably gone. Get rid of Malcolm Brogdon. But Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simons, and Shaedon Sharpe, they kind of want to roll with those 3. And let's say you have a guy like Reed Sheppard on the board, which he could be BPA. That's going to be that's going to cluster your entire backcourt. So I would probably look towards a forward here. And they're a team that desperately needs some offense. I'm going to go Cody Williams here. More of a raw prospect and could take a few years, or more of a, I guess, physically raw, and could take a few years to really develop into that NBA body. But Portland has the time to do that, and they need an offensive, jolt of energy, and Cody Williams can do that, hopefully. As long as his, efficiency and shot volume kind of check out in the pros, it'll be fine. Planeta coming in saying, do you see Ainge, I guess, trade up in the draft, get Castle? I guess. Okay. I think Castle, I would love Castle in Utah. I just don't think it's going to be as easy to pull that off as you would think. The Jazz they have the opportunity to trade up if they really want to. So I wouldn't take that out of the cards, but I think a team like Charlotte would really, they could really use a guy like Castle. Detroit could trade back for more assets, I guess, because, they are a team that does need talent or just, some type of future. So Detroit, I would look at more here. But if Castle was a guy here, I would for Utah, I would not complain one bit. Let's go past Cody Williams here. Number 8, we got the Spurs back on the clock. And this is where I would probably go Reed. And the reason I say that is because you take Topic and at number 4, he's kind of a dart throw at this point. Because you get the talent, right? But you're not going to get him for the first half of the year. And if you're a team that needs guard talent, might as well take another shot here while you have to pick. Take Reed to get a nice shooter in there. You need some offense. He can play make a little bit for you. And he can still be like a 6-man or even a starting 2. Even when Topic is fully healthy or fully ready to take the reins. But I think he's a great connector piece and someone that could fit really well next to Victor. Because even I've seen people concerned about his size, me included. And I think that could be a bit of an issue in the pros. But if you're paired next to someone like Victor, I don't think height is going to be much of an issue or really defense entirely. So he can kind of mask that, and he can. I think that's one of my favorite fits in the lottery. 9 here. I think Memphis is in a tough spot. I would go Connect here though. Reason being because last year they were one of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the league. They're not really in a position to draft and develop anymore. Like they might be drafting top 10, but they're a better team than that. So take a hometown kid like Connect. He can instantly come in, be a nice wing presence, be a nice shooter in there, and I think that's kind of a foolproof type of pick there. And with those 9 picks on the board, we now have Utah up. And so you look at the board here, the way we've kind of draw things up here. Got these 9 guys on the board here. So you got Rob Dillingham available to John, Ron Holland, Devin Carter, Jacoby White, Jeremy Kane, even Zach Edey if you're like an Edey. So I think regardless of how the board falls for the Jazz, they will have a really solid player here available at their fingertips. Now it just depends on what they want to go with. Like Dillingham could be like in terms of raw talent, the most talented on the board here. Ron Holland could be the most athletic on the board here. Devin Carter could be the best defensive player. But if I am picking in there, this is probably more like a personal pick here. I would love to see this team take DeJohn or take a flyer on DeJohn. First of all, this team needs defensive upside on anywhere they can get it. Like they were the last rated defensive team last year. They have their center position worked out, and they got Walker Kessler for the future. They could even. I've seen even Edey getting some play here at 10. So they might even be safe there. But I think when you're looking at ceiling for a prospect here at 10, and I think the Jazz kind of need to shoot for the moon here. They really have no reason not to. They have so many picks in the future, and they have cap space. They have ample opportunity to move around, but you might as well shoot for a guy like DeJohn that can at the very least provide a lot more on the defensive side that you don't have right now, right? And at its best, you can get let's say he's 6'8". I think he's got like a 7'1", 7'2" wingspan. If his 3-point shot can develop and he can handle the ball a little bit, but like it's gonna take some time, right? So he's 18 years old. He's gonna be a little bit younger. It might take a few years to see that actually get honed into, but I view him very similarly to how I looked at Bilal last year, and I would have loved Bilal over Taylor Hendricks. I would have wanted Bilal in Utah because it's that more of a question mark type of prospect that you can take a flyer on, and then it can end up panning out well for you. And you see in Washington, Bilal probably isn't a superstar off rip, but he's shown some traits to be a really solid defender. And at the very least, the Jazz could definitely use that here at 10. I'm going to John here. That's my logic here. If he fell here at 10, I think the Jazz should not think twice about it and go. Coop says Rob Dillingham or DeJohn would be a great fit for the Jazz. The reason I am passing on Rob Dillingham here is simply because the Jazz do not need another scoring non-defensive point guard. They have Colin Sexton, they have Jordan Clarkson, Keontae they took last year. I don't really see a need for a fourth. Instead, you can get some length and some versatility on the defensive end. Take DeJohn. If Dillingham was to pick, I wouldn't be upset because he's a fun player to watch for sure, and he could develop into an all-star player. It's just where the Jazz currently sit in terms of their team needs. It might be a bit iffier for me. But yeah, we got that. So Jazz pick up the board here, and they'll be back on the clock here. So I don't want to spend a ton of time through 11 to whatever. We're already 20 minutes in, but yeah, we got the Jazz later on. But let's go here to number 11 to the Bulls, who actually just made a deal. Caruso to O'Shea. Yep, perfect. Yeah, perfect segue. We got the Bulls up here, and I am honestly going to probably think Devin Carter's a pick here because I was reading Woj's tweet earlier, and part of the reason they did this trade is because they want another playmaker to kind of replace Lonzo Ball, or at least come in and kind of fill that role if he's not going to play. But in order to do that, you had to give up your primary, point of attack defender. And by adding Devin Carter into that, like, I think he kind of fits the Alex Caruso mold. Now he's not as impactful or as good as a defender as Alex Caruso right now, but for a team that might need a bit more of a presence defensively in the perimeter now they lost Caruso, Devin Carter can easily do that. And I heard that he got a promise in the lottery. Maybe it was a Bulls big brain move to trade Caruso and then promise Devin Carter preemptively. I don't know. I think Devin Carter is going to be a stud regardless. If the Jazz could easily take Devin Carter, I would probably, maybe it's a bold take, I would probably take Devin Carter over Rob Dillingham because that's a tough one. I don't know. I'm not totally sold on that take, but I wouldn't be hard pressed to say Carter there. We got OKC up here, number 12. And now they got the defensive side of the ball and the perimeter set now. Like, they got Caruso, they got Cason Wallace, they got Lou Dort. Dude, they need size. They definitely do need size. They could sign it, but they got a guy like Zach Edey sitting right there. I mean, like, do you want another guard to add in the rotate? They don't need any more guards now. They just added another one. They drafted one last year. Forwards on the board, unless you want De Silva, I'm going Edey here. I think Edey, you pair Edey next to Chet, that's a imposing front court, insane defensive front court. I don't know how well they'd play together. It probably depends on, Edey's ability to stretch the floor, how will he translate to the NBA game. But I think that the Thunder are kind of in a spot to where it's like, why not? Like, they got so many picks in the future. You got Zach Edey sitting there, and you need size on your team. And if it works out, this is a tremendous pick. Like, let's say Zach Edey can stretch the floor a bit, can be a really solid, nice defender. You can play Chet at the 4, have a massive lineup in there. I would absolutely take Edey here at 12. And he's one of the biggest wild cards in this class, I think, because you could see him going top 10. I've seen someone saying that he's got a promise in the top 10. I don't know if I want to buy that or not, but I think 12 could be a spot. I think lottery is definitely realistic for Edey, though. Kings here. Kings are up. I think it's pretty simple here for them. Dillingham is an interesting idea here because if you're going to lose Malik Monk, you can put Dillingham in. I think he's a little bit undersized, but he gives you that offensive, spark that you'd be losing with Monk. And I don't know if you'd be able to play him and Fox like super well together. It's tempting. I'm going to go with Ron Holland, though. Fits a need. They need a wing defender very badly. Nice athlete. Not as developed offensively, but considering the Kings are really, really well off offensively already, I think Ron Holland can be a solid fit there. It's just, can he translate the athleticism to defensive talent? That's the question. And then last pick of the lottery here, we got the Portland Trailblazers up here. I think this one, like I said earlier, I don't know if they're going to be looking for a guard here, right? They have their set of guards here. They do have Rob, but like Rob and Scoot, does that really work out? No. And like, you already have issues like defensively, maybe with Scoot. Like, or I don't know if actually, okay, Scoot can be he's got upside on the defense, but I don't know if Dillingham's a guy here, even though he might be the best available talent on the board. So if it were me, predicting here, which it is, I'm going to go with De Silva here, because if you take De Silva here, you got a nice front court type of duo in the lottery here with Cody, who can be a younger type of higher ceiling guy that it might take a few years to really hone into his NBA talent. But De Silva is a guy that a senior that is experienced. He's been 23. I think is that how? Sorry, 22. He might be 22. Or I don't know. But it's really get both sides of the token there. You get, young upside, you get instant production with De Silva. Sam says, Edey to OKC, stop the stream. Dude, I don't even think it's that bad of a fit. Like, I'm sorry, Edey Edie gets some hate, but bro, like you gotta think if you're pairing him with Chet, I don't know, like that's your Jokic answer right there. Like they were a team that struggled with size consistently last year, and you could sign a guy like Drummond or like Hartenstein if you have the money for. I don't know if they have the money for Hartenstein or not, but Edie is more upside than all of that. So, and they have the really the feasibility to do that. So that's my logic there. I don't know. Maybe I should stop the stream, but I won't. We got 15 up for the Heat, and I think this is where Dillingham probably goes. It might be a little bit of a wonky fit defensively, just based off of who Dillingham is as a player. But it's the Heat. The Heat are they're known for making that stuff work. He can pair with Terry Rozier as that point guard. Hopefully, I don't know. It would just be the defensive type of worries I would have there, but I think that would be kind of apparent for anyone that would take Rob Dillingham. But if he can score the ball, that's really all that matters, right? When you're taking him, and that's kind of what the Heat could use. Philly's in a weird spot because they have like 3 players on the roster, so they kind of have the flexibility to do whatever they want. I think you could see him going front court. I'm gonna go with Jacoby though. I think Jacoby Walter, nice scorer, nice shooter. I think you could play him next to Tyrese, and he might not be the most elite type of defender right now, but he has the build and the versatility to do that. Got that. We're going to number 17 here. This is such a Jerry McCain pick right here. It's so Jerry McCain. You're going to tell me that JJ Redick's the head coach of the Lakers and he doesn't want to take a Duke shooter with his first pick. And Jerry, I don't even think it's that bad of a pick on paper, right? Like LeBron needs a shooter to get a point guard in there that can score the ball. Defensively, like has some worries, but you have Anthony Davis on the team, so that's not as much as a worry. Even though he's not as a perimeter defender, Lakers are fine defensively. They need scorers, and that's what that does. 18. The Magic. Okay, yeah. So the Magic, they've consistently struggled offensively in the past like 3 seasons, it seems like, and they had an okay draft last year. Okay, they took Jet Howard in the lottery, which is probably one of the worst picks so far. But I think they take a guy like Johnny Furphy here. Johnny Furphy, one of the better shooters in the draft and also pretty good off ball. So when you have a team that has, like Jalen Suggs, Paolo, Franz, already these, okay, Suggs is more of a defensive guy, but you have these guys that can come in and be more ball dominant players. But a guy like Furphy can be a nice shooter from year one. And I think that's kind of just what they just need some type of instant offense, really. And I think Furphy can do that even without commanding the rock in his hands. Toronto here. We're going to go Toronto. That's right. Okay. With Toronto, Toronto's in such a weird spot, dude. Because you look at their depth chart, they have so many wings that they can just throw out there. Bruce Brown, probably not going to resign though. Gary Trent, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, Grady Dick, Ochai Agbaji. Man, that's. I don't think they take a wing here. So, and they don't really have a future guard. So I'll go Bub Carrington here probably. I think Bub Carrington can give them some offensive versatility. I thought about a guy like Collier here because Collier is dropping a bit more than I'd probably like, but he's also not that great of a shooter. And when you're trying to pair someone next to Scotty Barnes, you'd probably want someone that can stretch the floor a little bit better, have better spacing. And I think Carrington fits that a bit better than Collier does, and that's why I'd go him here. 20, I got the Cavs up, and I think this is one of my favorite picks of the first round. I go Kel'el Ware. Don't know what's going to happen with Jared Allen. He could be on his way out, may or may not. But you have a guy like Kel'el Ware in here that is a defensive focused player, but also has the ability to come in and stretch the floor a little bit. And you don't have that with Jared Allen. If you look at, hold on, I don't know if I can, let me go back for a second. If you look at the Cavs depth at big man, we are running Tristan Thompson as our backup big man in the year of 2024. That needs to stop. So get a guy like Kel'el Ware that can play on both ends. I think I would be all for that if I was Cleveland. That's a home run pick. And along with that, another home run pick, in my opinion, would be New Orleans here being able to get Filipowski. Valanciunas can be a free agent. Don't really know what's going to happen here at their big man spot, but Filipowski does really exactly what I think this team would covet for a center. He's a stretch big and can play really well next to Zion. Get the Duke brotherhood back, man. And not he's not going to be Rudy Gobert in the paint, but thankfully you have a really solid defensive core in New Orleans that you can kind of build around that and mask that. It might be tough. It's a little bit tougher to hide that from a center and a defense, but I think Filipowski, regardless, you don't, these 7-foot stretch bigs that are, first round talents don't grow on trees. So if he falls to 21, that's absolutely where I'd be going if I was New Orleans there. Phoenix is in a spot where they just need talent. They just need someone they need a fifth man on the bench that can actually play worthwhile minutes. But for the Suns, they kind of have their scoring in check. So, I mean, I think they could really use a defender. And at this point in the draft, there is none better on the board than Ryan Dunn. I would go Ryan Dunn here in a heartbeat. I think that's a fantastic pick. I would even take him earlier. I've seen people, Ryan Dunn's been around, a late first. I could see him going lottery. Like, if the Kings want to take him at 13, I wouldn't even be that upset because one of the best defenders in the draft. One of the best defenders in the draft. Super high upside, super great physicals, great driver. Yeah, man, I think the Suns could definitely use that whether he starts, whether he comes off the bench. They tried to do that last offseason to get these halfway defenders like Royce O'Neal and Grayson Allen to kind of, and a Kogi to kind of mend that. But you get someone like Ryan Dunn that's a serious threat on that end of the floor, and I think that changes it's not going to change the entire landscape of their team because they're still in a rough spot. But I think that's a great value pick there. The Bucks. The Bucks are a team that need defense, and they also aren't in a position to really develop talent. If you notice over the past few drafts or so, they take guys and they kind of get lost in the rotation, like Andre Jackson, right? Marjon Beauchamp. So these are guys that came in as, highly viewed prospects, but because of where the Bucks are, they can't really, wait around for these guys to hone into the players that they can be in 2-3 years. So I think taking a more experienced guy like Kevin McCullough makes a ton of sense here. Great shooter and great defender, and comes in from a senior from Kansas. So fits kind of the bill of what they would need there. And yeah, I think that's pretty simple as that. They just need, I would say they definitely do need to get younger, but man, if you're not going to be able to develop your talent, there's no sense of doing that. So I'd go McCullough there, and I think that's a pretty solid pick there. The Knicks here, they got 2 picks back to back. With them, I think it comes down to, you don't really want to mess with what this team has. They got a really solid foundation. You got Brunson, Anunoby, you're going to want to resign. Randall's going to be back healthy. Maybe Hartenstein may or not come back. So I think they probably look towards center here because of their uncertainty with Achua and Hartenstein. So at this point, I'd probably go with Yves. I think that maybe that's not his name, or maybe the Y silent or something. I don't know. I'm going with Missy. Great defensive center, a little bit undersized, but considering the Knicks are just in a good spot, they can take they can kind of go a variety of different directions here. But I'd go Yves and kind of go with the defensive guy there. The Knicks. They're back on the clock, and I don't know why I blanked out there. I'm gonna go with another type of guy you implement without much issue. It'd be Baylor Sharman, tough shooter. Another senior that can come in and provide instant impact. Again, a guy like Collier is dropping a little bit, but the Knicks are not a team that you want to go and develop, and I think Collier could definitely use that extra time, and that's what he's going to get here. I think that this is where the slide stops for Collier. If the Wizards manage to get Klingon and Isaiah Collier here, that's big time. That's a big win. They could end up that might be like best draft in the first round type of stuff. You could easily see Collier going top 20. I've seen him going as high as 15. But just kind of the way it goes in a mock draft like this, I don't know. He wouldn't be far from a bad pick here at 26. So 27, you got Minnesota back up, and we got Utah coming up real close here. With the Timberwolves, I think they're another team just like the Knicks are in a really good spot, just kind of where they are. They could probably use another backup point, though. Like, they got Mike Conley. He's getting a little bit older. Why not bring in Tyler Kolek? Really, really good passer. A guy that's experienced. You're going to wait on to develop him either. Bit undersized, but if you got a guy like Mike Conley mentoring you to run the point guard position, he could actually be a nice rotational player and maybe even more going forward. 28, we got the Nuggets coming up here, and they have taken a lot of wings in years past. They took Peyton Watson here. They took Christian Braun. They took Julian Strother. So I don't think they go wing here. It would probably make sense to me to get a backup big for Jokic because you got DeAndre Jordan. DeMarcus Cousins is not even on the team. So you got Adam Bona here. I would go, or Adam. Nice defensive big, not going to do much offensively. But the good thing is that you have the best player in the game working alongside you to help mitigate that. So don't hate that at all. And the Jazz up here. Once again. And so this the board would look here at 29. I don't hate the way this looks. There are some nice names out there. You got Keyshawn George, Bobby Clintman. I've seen getting some nice rep here in the first round. I'm probably going to go Keyshawn George here. And I think Tyler Smith is a guy that definitely intrigues me here. What's up, Ryan? I am probably going to pass on Tyler Smith for the reason that let's say Tyler Smith is on the board here and the Jazz have interest. You've already kind of taken your lottery ticket with Tajon right here. So I don't know if they want to go too crazy here and take two kind of unknowns, because that's what you get out of Tyler Smith. He's more of a raw prospect, young. He has some traits and some physical ability for sure, but you don't want to come out of this draft completely empty-handed if things go wrong. I think a guy like Keyshawn is a guy that could impact the game in multiple different ways. You got, like, he's a nice shooter. I think he's got nice size, nice length. Defensively, he can match up well. I think he's more of a jack of all trades type of guy. So you don't know exactly what type of role he might play, especially with the Jazz more deeper down that rotation. Maybe it comes with a bit time of G League, or a bit of time in the G League, because we saw that with guys like Bryce Sensabaugh and Taylor Hendricks this year. So a guy like Keyshawn kind of has the physical build that the Jazz like, but I'm gonna probably go with that here. And then we have number 30, ending out the first round, and the Boston Celtics are up here, world champions. I picked them in 5s. I'm gonna go with Bobby here though, because you can't go wrong. I mean, just get a nice wing defender in there. He might be a bit raw in terms of what he can do off rip, but the Celtics do not need instant production. They can put him in with the main red claws for the next 3 years and feel okay about it. So I'm solid with that right there. We're closing in on the final 2 here. The Raptors up here at 31. And I think this is probably where Tyler Smith can go. He's got, the Raptors kind of got the ability to take a flyer on that. And he's got the physical traits that they definitely like over there. If he hones into his ability as like a crafty, lengthy wing next to Scotty Barnes, that's a tough fit. And that's tough to defend for anyone, really, with that type of size and versatility. And then we have the final pick here. Final pick of our official mock draft. We got 72 people in here. Appreciate everyone for showing up here. But yeah, I'm going to go right here. You got like Terrence Shannon that could be a nice wing guy in here. Justin Edwards, another guy like that. Deron Holmes is also another guy that I like just based off defensive talent. But I'm going to go with Harrison Ingram because of his playmaking upside. The Jazz definitely lacked that last year. And Ingram, even though it says he averaged 2.2 assists, definitely has that more of a playmaking sense. Played North Carolina. He's also a junior in college, and I don't think that the Jazz are going to come out of here with 3 freshmen. That's not the sense that I got from Danny Ainge. So getting an experienced guy in the second round that also provides a need, I don't hate the pick. So, yeah, that's my full 32 here. I would go in, a little bit deeper, but I'm not trying to dive into all 60 picks today. Unfortunately, maybe I dropped the two-part mock drafts in written form later this week. But this is what we see here. We got Sarr, Klingon, Rizachet, Topic, Buzella's top 5. For the Jazz, we have them going to John Salon, Kashawn George, and Harrison Ingram. That gives them 3 type of wing guys that can come in and not only hopefully mend their defensive issues, because that's what John's going to do, and hopefully someone like Harrison Ingram can come in and do that a little bit, and Kashawn maybe develops into that as well. But yeah, that's how I'm feeling. This could very well change. I'm probably going to do a written edition for the website for the Rose and Rope sometime later next week once we get closer to the draft. But as of June 20th, this is how I am feeling about the 2024 draft. But yeah, hopefully y'all are pleased with the picks here. But yeah, that's what I got. Yeah, if you guys like what you saw, be sure to give us a subscribe over here on Inside the Jazz Frozen Rope. We will be live next week, Wednesday, not Thursday. I don't think we're going to be live Thursday. We're going to be here for the draft show, more of an extensive type of process. Over there, going to be going from, pick 1 to pick however long it ends up being. But if you guys like what you saw tonight, we're going to be live again next week, so be sure to tune into that. Till then, if you want to see more from me, be sure to subscribe on the channel. Be sure to, not over here. Be sure to hit me with the follow on Twitter at Jared Cook with 2 double J's, or 1 double J, my fault. And then go hit up our website, insidethejazz.com/jazz. But yeah, I will see you all next week for the draft show. And yeah, hopefully the Jazz get a stellar pick, and hopefully they don't trade the pick in that time, because that would probably ruin my plans. But yeah, thank you everyone for showing out. Thank you everyone for showing out in chat, and I'll be back. See y'all.